2009 Volvo C30 R design. Got that 2.5 liter 5-cylinder single turbo engine. Issue was the fan module, which is this guy. Ended up making the fan stay on, and it killed my battery. So basically had to jump start the car, drove it up here, which was probably a bad idea because I think I put some strain on the alternator from it being undercharged and having to rejuvenate a completely dead battery. So ideally you're going to want to just tow it back to wherever it needs to be and put it on a battery charger. But the main reason that I'm making this video is not to practice my grammar skills, because I obviously cannot talk properly, but it's to address this situation here with getting out the fan shroud. So at first I had the option of putting in a used module. I heard that like basically the motor can make the module fail, but I mean they're hardwired in, so there ain't no splitting them anyway. But then I noticed the housing had some damage right here and figured I would just get an entire new unit. Once I saw the price wasn't that bad, it was like $180 for import direct through O'Reilly's. It's this part number here. But again, the reason I'm making this video is because after literal hours of research, everyone who has a video on replacing this module, God bless him, but one guy had it pried up out of here and he was able to replace like just the fan in the module and reuse the housing or something. He put one in and it didn't work right. Cool video. He ended up having to get a new unit anyway because the motor ended up frying the module, which I don't even know how they separated it anyway. Sorry, that looked a little janky, but this is basically like, it's like a sturdier material. I'm rambling. Nobody teaches you how to get around this cooler. And so the issue is, like, you can loosen the cooler off of this, you can pull it against the spaghetti lower hose, you know, with the 10,000 hoses coming off. What we ended up having to do, because like the other video by My Name Ideas we're taking, cool video, he's got some awesome videos, always support like another Volvo fellow, but he just did some like magic trick where all of a sudden like he's like struggling with the, you know, the cooler getting in the way and mainly the radiator in that hose. So we had to, I don't know, he's got it fighting it. Then all of a sudden the next clip, it's just like magically he's like, you just pull it out. No, it ain't just a pull out game. No matter how strong your pull out game is, it's like we ended up having to disconnect this hose. That didn't work. We ended up having to disconnect the lower hose off of that. I ended up removing the boost hose off of that just to get to the hose clamp off that lower coolant hose on the cooler. That didn't give us enough room because it's hitting the transmission case if you scoot that forward. And then, you know, we pull the top hose. Had a battle. Nobody online teaches you how to undo this, the transmission cooler line. Both of these lines are similar. You do have to squeeze them. I ended up using a tool. I used this tool. Not ideal, but wide enough to pinch those points. So it is a push type. You gotta push down and then pry on that, wiggle the heck out of it, and then eventually it pops off. So it's a squeeze type. If you've got gorilla fingers that are also miniature size, then maybe you'll be able to be strong enough and tiny enough to pry that off with your bare hands. But for everybody else who's not some sort of android, yeah, you got to use a specialty tool. Nobody online anywhere, like you look up Ford transmission quick disconnect line, it's all different styles. Nobody really goes into this. One guy kind of does, but he doesn't show like how it does, and it's like he's like prying up on it. Never pry on a piece of plastic, you're gonna break it. So you got to squeeze both sides evenly, do a little twist, pushing, twisting, and prying, and then it eventually, as you're twisting, it'll pop off. So we did that on the top. Bottom one, there ain't no way that you're gonna get your tool up in there to get that you know, done like that. And I know I'm not getting the shot right, but what we ended up having to do is pull the line out of the transmission. It's like a 8 mil. Might want to replace that seal. We don't have the seal. It wasn't leaking before, so I'm just gonna hope for the best. But after you get the upper hard line off for the transmission, yeah, it's gonna dump some transmission fluid, so have a pan underneath it. Also dumps a fuck ton of coolant, even if you I don't know if I have to bleep that out. Whatever, we're all adults here. You have to capture the coolant, capture the ATF. Then and only then you have to you can safely pull this out. We pulled it out through the bottom because the hard line that's still remaining on the lower wouldn't allow it to come through the top. You have to get that cooler out. Otherwise, you're stuck with like a 1/2 inch of it hitting the side of the radiator spot where the hose goes onto. Even after pulling the hose, even after pulling like these coolant, like every step that we could do like incrementally to try to replicate what everybody else was doing with this like magic pull out trick that they were doing, none of it worked. So I don't know, maybe you have better luck, maybe the R design is different, I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of invisible like bonk that happened, like push the car, like the radiator support forward. I don't know, but if you have trouble with this, don't keep trying to like fan dangle stuff. You need to just get straight to the point, remove the hoses off of that, get that top hose off, pull it off the bracket, pull it out from underneath the car. Then and only then were we able to remove the old housing, because basically like this little side piece was just getting hung up on the radiator. Also, okay, so a time estimate, we took about 1.5 hours trying to get that upper line off. And then before that, we took about probably 2 hours trying to fan dangle, Tetris, pull out game, this whole thing. Nothing worked. So yeah, move that cooler down and out. The new unit, I am impressed with its rigidity. Like it looks like some sort of composite material perhaps. It's stronger than the like thinner plastic of the OEM unit. So OEM direct, they always like source equal or better parts than OEM, at least from my experience. But one of the first things my friend noticed is the fan down these fan flaps. So like the lower one, he said that this was broken, like the tab was broken, so it'll still flap, but it's pretty loose. So I flipped it over, and turns out you can hit it with you can just like pry it out. It clips out on that side, you pull it off like out and then out. So you're left with this, and I'm probably just gonna swap it over because I can still have access to that. But the issue we're facing right now is everything's lined up over there and it's not lined up over here. So there's either an issue with way down there in the bottom corner with this piece not settling into its tabs. Like it's probably got a little groove corner thing down there. It's just not engaging all the way. So I'm gonna go under the car and my friend's gonna try to align it from the top. And we'll try to get that down so that we can get this upper tab in and get the clip around this, because right now it's hung up. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's some sort of like manufacturing issue. There's like slight issues, or slight imperfections, I should say. For example, the big noticeable thing, the notable modifying feature, it was for the transmission cooler where it goes into here, this piece set higher, so it wasn't allowing it to sit fully seated in here. So my friend had to take a file and shave it down to the proper height that matches OEM, and then it went on good. So expect to do that if you get the OEM direct, or import direct, sorry. I don't know what kind of warranty it has. I don't really care at this point. I just want to drive my car again. And then this is my other C30. We just replaced the turbo, steering rack, and inner and outer tie rod, or no, the whole steering rack with new outer tie rods. The inners were still good. Yeah, I got Honda parts on it. Yeah, it's like a workbench. I just got to get some new plugs for it and some new coil packs, because I took them off of this car and I put them on a Nubis. I'm I'm not trying to ramble on, but I did have limited tools here because I'm in the transition of moving to another shop. So I feel like we did pretty good with what we had. Just got the conies on, Eibach lowering springs all around, moving to Brembo RS brakes, 3rd gen Focus RS brakes, and I think it's like Mazda 5 Caliper Mount with a XC70 Volvo SUV rotor, same lug pattern. It scoots the caliper out. So I do have higher rear brake bias right now, so in the corners it's kind of like you can feel that it wants to oversteer, which is nice. I got 245 wide tires all around. No rub. I'm just giving out some stats for nerds, for Volvo nerds, and then I'm gonna go up to the 4-pot Brembos with 350 millimeter front rotors, and I'm not sure if they'll sit inside of this 3rd gen ST wheel, because I've heard people can't run weights on the inside because it gets too close to the caliper. But yeah, this is how we did it. I only got one jack. I just put a bunch of fucking Jackstands under there. Maybe it's not the best idea. I couldn't get under there without, yeah, just disregard that. Just pretend like there's like 8 Jackstands under there. This car's name is Anubis, so take what you want out of that. So didn't die. And we have the new Fan Shroud in here. I'm probably just gonna edit that whole thing out about the Jackstands. Anyways, yeah, 12-minute video. Maybe it taught you something. Maybe you're like super bored with my rambling. Maybe you're entertained by this car. I am gonna repaint. I got a phone call. Sorry, I had a phone call. I'm gonna redo this because they sanded down the artisan chrome, painted it white. So I scuffed it, hit it with black Plastidip, hit it with chameleon spray paint, and then a 1K clear, and now it's done this. Super crazy. It looks like something out of Halo 2. It honestly, I don't know about it. I'm just gonna make them black. And then I got these. I could only find one side. The other side, they're both discontinued. So I was able to find one. I might just have somebody 3D print the other one. I don't know what to do about that. Or I could just steal it off of that car, honestly. Anyway, yeah. So Cyrus Garage. And one of the mini projects I have. Trying to get this 8.6 ready. Gonna repaint it the silver two-tone. Anyway, it's a long enough video. I hope you gained some knowledge out of it. In the description, I'll probably just say, save a lot of time, remove the cooler, and squish the tabs, because I'm laying down knowledge that nobody else could provide. That's why I'm making this, because I'm so pissed off about wasting like 3 hours on the cooler and that hard line. So there it be.